When we first began living off the land, we weren't growing everything we do now. Over time though, we've gradually added more foods to our list of yearly staples. Once we get comfortable growing something new, we introduce something else. Last year we added dried beans, and this year we're excited to include another crop into the mix. We have another very big planting day today, and I'm just so ready, so ready to get my garden in the ground and not have to think like all the planting stuff makes me really tired. So I'm just ready to have everything in the ground. I love the time of the year when I can just take care of everything. I can water my seedlings, make sure everything has what it needs. That's what I really love. Today we have around 5 more crops that we really want to get in the ground. One of those is somewhat new to us. We've definitely grown it in the past and have been successful with it, but it's the type of thing that hasn't stayed in our routine because we haven't had the time. Now that the kids are older, Cody's home to help me more, we're gonna add it back into the routine. All right, so I'm wanting to plant carrots, a couple different kinds of corn. I have a bunch of flowers that I'm wanting to plant, some zucchini, wildflowers, dried beans. Before we get started planting though, Cody has something super exciting to update you guys on.
We've got some new animals on the homestead again. Not new for us, but new for this spring. It's broiler chicks. There's about 65 or so of them in here. I picked them up last week. All right, chickies. So many chickies. We picked up about 150 of them last week. Only about 65 of them are ours. A friend of mine, we ordered at the same time to get a better price. We get them from Meyer Hatchery. We've had really good luck with them over the past several years getting chicks from them. These are Rainbow Ranger chicks. I really like these for broilers. A lot of people will raise the Cornish cross. I think that's an okay idea, but I'm not into the grossly fat chickens. Even when they're on pasture, they'll sit by the feeders and they will just gorge themselves to the place where they can't even hardly walk. These Rainbow Rangers will grow really well and they'll get nice and big, but they will actually forage when they're out on pasture. And they don't seem to be as finicky. I've never actually raised the Cornish cross. From what I've heard and seen, they can have real problems with heart attacks and leg issues and stuff like that. The Rainbow Rangers don't have those problems, so I really like them for that. We decided to not go into just a whole ton of detail about these this time because we did a really detailed video last year, the whole process from start to finish raising our broiler chicks. So I'll make sure to leave a link for that at the end of this video so you can watch that if you're interested in raising your own. But they are getting close to a week old now and they're doing really well. I am seeing some poopy butt on some of them, which can be a big issue. And I think the biggest thing was when we got them in here, it was pretty warm for a few days. It was actually warm enough that I had to turn the heat lamps off. And it can be a little more difficult, I think, to raise them when it's really warm outside, because it's when it's cold outside, you can add the heat and they can have a cooler area to be in, and then they can go under the heat if they're cold. But when it's really warm outside, especially with these glass doors here, it's hard to get it cooled down. And in my experience, It's actually more detrimental for the chicks to be too warm than too cold. We will keep you updated on these as they're growing, and they'll get on pasture in about 2 or 3 weeks, and then they'll be ready for processing in about 10 or 11 weeks.
We're gonna start planting today with the sweet corn. Last year we planted sweet corn over here, and I'm usually pretty picky about crop rotation, like not having the same crop in the same place each year. So we did sweet corn over here. We're gonna do sweet corn over here this time. This is like prime soil, and so I care far more about the sweet corn than I do about the other crop that we're gonna be planting later on, which Cody will talk about that more later. The kind of sweet corn that I grow is called Incredible. This is the kind that my mom always plants, the kind that she planted growing up. So I know I like this. We're just gonna go with this. We planted this last year. It performed really, really beautifully. I have no complaints. I try to plant my corn around 6 to 8 inches apart. As always, I would rather plant a little bit too much and have to thin than have rows that are very sparse or have big long spaces if germination was poor or something. Whenever we would plant the garden at home, my dad would come out and help us cover things up. And one of those like memories every single time I plant the garden that I go back to in my brain is my dad with his work boots, and he would go like this on one side of the row, and then like this on the other, and like this, and like this, and he would like move his way down the rows, and that's how we covered everything. My feet are not big enough, and I don't wear work boots, so it doesn't work for me, but that's one of my core childhood memories is Dad's boots covering up the rows in the garden.
Michelle made her drink earlier before we went outside. It's getting hot out there now, so I want to get one for myself. And I have been impatiently waiting to tell you guys about this. Check this out. Element has a new flavor, lemonade. It is the best flavor I've had so far, and it's only around for a limited time for the summer. So you're gonna have to get it while you can, but I'm gonna say this. I think if you guys just go and order a whole bunch of it, maybe even spam the comments then with how much you love it, maybe we can convince them to keep it as a regular flavor, because I will be really disappointed when summer's gone and we can't get this anymore. This stuff is so good. Element is an electrolyte drink mix that I've been drinking now for, it's been at least over a year, I think. I really love it for my workouts, for my running. You may have noticed I changed my shirt just for this segment. Last week I ran a Spartan Beast, which was on my list of goals for this year. It was super fun, and I actually did pretty well. I took some Element into my zipper pocket along with me, and as I was running the race, they had aid stations where you could get water. So a couple times I was feeling a little slow or whatever, I would stop and get some water, pour a whole Element pack in just this tiny cup of water, slurp it down. It's really, really salty when you do it like that, but it was still good, and it gives me a little boost. Just finished the Spartan Beast half marathon with 30 obstacles. Had a couple of packs of Element along the way, and I'm actually feeling pretty good. This was one of the muddiest races I've ever done. It was a lot of fun. Being out in the heat and working hard can be really hard on your adrenals, and that's something that's especially important for Michelle. She has had adrenal fatigue, and so something she's tried to do is make sure she gets enough minerals in her body to help take care of that. And Element has the minerals in it that she needs: sodium, potassium, and magnesium. That drink that Michelle made earlier was cranberry juice with the lemonade Element. It made a really good drink. I hadn't tried it yet. I tried it. It was really good, and that's kind of the fun thing with the lemonade is you can mix it with different stuff and get like strawberry lemonade, raspberry lemonade, something like that. Make sure you get this lemonade flavor while they have it. If you use the link in the description, drinkelement.com/morethanfarmers, you'll get a free sample pack of 8 single serving packets with any order, and they have a money back guarantee. So if you happen to not like it for some reason, you can give it to somebody you know who does, and then you get your money back, no questions asked.
The next thing we're going to be planting is dried beans. We did these last year. We had great fun with it. They were so simple. I am going to try a new dried bean this year. I'm going to be doing the navy beans. They're the little white ones. Our all-time favorite beans that we grew last year were these tiger's eye beans. They're really pretty and they're lots of fun. So we're definitely going to plant a whole bunch of these again. We also really liked these red kidney beans. These are really good in chilies and stuff. I used to just always use the black turtle. I'm not actually gonna plant black turtle this year. I have a bunch of those left over and we just don't like them as much. Dried beans are an amazing self-sufficiency food. Like, they can go a long way in getting you towards your self-sufficiency goals. The reason is they take very little care. I mean, basically you plant them, you weed them, you just leave the plants out until they're completely dried. Take them up on your porch, pull all the pods off, put them in a pillowcase, beat the pillowcase as the beans come out, and you don't have to preserve these. You just let them dry out really well and you can store them in food grade buckets in your basement, no preserving. And as you probably know, they're very filling. They have lots of protein. They are just one of the star storage foods for self-sufficiency. I bought these navy beans from Berlin Seed, but the tiger's eye and the kidney are just beans that I saved from last year. That's another thing, is it's so easy to save seeds from beans. You just take a little bit out of your food grade buckets and you're good to go. Supposedly having two beans beside each other helps them to germinate better. So I sometimes do it, sometimes don't. If you are having issues with your beans germinating, I would definitely suggest you do that. When I was planting my green beans, I just wanted to make sure I had enough to even do them double. So I just did them single. I've done it both ways. It's always worked.
I am really excited for what we're going to be planting here next to the dried beans. Something that we did a long time ago, but we haven't done for a while because we were just trying to save time and space in the garden. We were a little overwhelmed with everything that we're doing, but we're ready to jump back into it. We are going to be planting dent corn. I think it is so much fun. You can use it to make cornbread. It is absolutely delicious. If you like cornbread at all, homegrown, homemade cornbread knocks any other cornbread out of the park. One of the varieties that we're going to plant is called Bloody Butcher. It sounds a little creepy, but it is really cool. It grows these big red corn cobs. The red corn turns the cornbread kind of purple. The other one that we're going to be planting is called Reed's Yellow Dent. That's a yellow one. And so it makes a nice, rich yellow cornbread and it tastes amazing. We did just plant our sweet corn over here. We're going to be planting our dent corn over here. It's definitely close enough that they could cross-pollinate, and that can kind of mess them up a little bit. We're going to take a little bit of a chance here. Incredible Sweet Corn is an 85-day to maturity corn, and then the Bloody Butcher is 105 days to maturity. So we're hoping that they will tassel at enough of a different time that they won't cross-pollinate. And even if they cross-pollinate just a little bit, it'll be all right. The other thing that we have to deal with is we've got cornfields all around us. That's field corn that we wouldn't want cross-pollinating with our sweet corn. We can't do anything about when they plant their corn, so we're taking a risk there anyways. And then the Reed's Yellow Dent, we are actually gonna wait to plant this one. We're gonna probably give it at least 2 weeks after we plant this to plant this one, so that hopefully, even if these others would cross-pollinate, the Reed's Yellow Dent would be by itself and it wouldn't.
One mistake that I used to make as a new gardener was covering my seeds too deep. So I just basically put way too much soil over top, and so it took them a really long time to pop up out of the soil. And also I had a lower germination rate. So just make sure that you're not burying your seeds too deep. Just a nice gentle cover is all that they take.
A little note about spacing. We put the corn seeds in there about 8 inches apart in the row. And then our rows, I think, are about 2 feet apart. So if you look it up on the internet, it might tell you to go a little farther apart than that, like maybe even 3 feet. We just thought that's kind of excessive. And basically what we want is enough space to come through here with the wheel hoe to weed in between the rows, and then enough space to be able to walk through here to harvest the corn. And 2 feet should be plenty for that. While Michelle is watering in all those seeds, I wanted to tell you about something that's happening in less than a month. We're speaking at the Food Independence Summit again this year in Holmes County, Ohio. We were there last year. It was a ton of fun. It was great to meet some of you there. There are so many workshops and speakers there, so much valuable information. We'd love it if you would be there to see us, to hang out with us. But I guarantee if you come, you'll probably learn a whole lot more from some of the other speakers there than you will from us. Joel Salatin's gonna be there, Neil Kinsey, Sarah Thrush, lots of great people to learn from. And we have a discount code if you want to get tickets to come. We'll put that in the description below. So make sure you get those with our discount code.
These are zinnias that I saved from last year. Did you know that if you just save a couple of the flowers, pick some of your favorite flowers and dry them, you can put them in a Ziploc baggie, and the next year you can just take them and crush them and put the petals all through your rows. The seeds are down in there somehow. Zinnias remind me of my childhood. This is something my mom planted every single year in her garden. She would have a row along the front of her garden. So I got a couple different kinds. These I saved from last year. These are Zahara Raspberry Lemonade, and these are Profusion Cherry Bicolor. I'm just gonna do a couple of each. This is just for fun. Last year, one of the things in my garden that brought me so much joy was a nice big patch of wildflowers that I had here in front of the garden. I could see it from my swing. Those wildflowers brought in hummingbirds and butterflies and bees. It was absolutely beautiful, and I know that it really gave my garden a boost. Last year I spent quite a bit of money because I had to buy tons of seed packets to have enough seeds to actually cover this area. So this year I went big and I got a beneficial insectary blend and also an annual mix low grow wildflowers. And each of these are a 1/4 pound. I'm not gonna use all these, I can always use them again next year, but I just didn't feel like having to buy a whole bunch of the tiny packs from Walmart again. What I will do is just kind of rake these in, compact it a little bit, water it in, and we should be good. These here are bachelor's buttons from last year that reseeded. I just let them go.
Speed racer. Na, 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 na.
We have one more very important crop that we need to plant. We're getting tired. We're ready to go inside. And then all of our staple crops will be in the ground. I do still have to plant cucumbers, but we have to figure out a trellising system. We're not going to do that today. We'll do that another day. Can't wait to get this all done. The relief of having everything in the ground is huge. We're gonna be planting 2 double rows of carrots up here. I decided to back off just a little bit on the amount of carrots. I think last year we harvested around 170, 140, 170 pounds of carrots, something like that. And it was a little bit too much for the winter. We couldn't quite eat them all. So I think that this is not quite as many as we did last year. I don't like to skimp on staple crops. I would rather have too many and feel like I have to use up a ton of food than not have enough. And then I'm also gonna plant a zucchini over here in the corner. I want it away from the big garden so that hopefully the bugs won't get to it too fast. I don't know. Carrots are a crop that many people find a bit difficult to grow. And I think it's just simply because it can be a little bit difficult to get them to germinate very well. The key, in my opinion, to getting them to germinate well is planting them nice and thick. Here again, I like to plant them nice and thick. They just germinate better that way. and then you can thin them. Some people get the pelleted carrot seeds. I haven't had the grandest success with those. I'm sure they work. I just like my good old Danvers seeds, and then I'm meticulous about going through and thinning them. If you want nice, big storage carrots, you have to thin them meticulously. Another thing is that carrots just don't love germinating when it's hot outside. So when you plant your seeds in the spring and it's nice and cool and wet, you don't have to worry about putting boards over them to get them to germinate. But in the fall time, when you're planting like in August and it's hot outside, you can put boards over top of your carrot rows, and it will keep the soil nice and cool and damp until your seeds germinate. And then of course you have to quickly take the board off and you'll be good to go. One thing that I feel is absolutely essential to help your carrots germinate is to have them damp all the time until they're germinated. I baby my carrot seedlings like crazy. I will water them every single day until they germinate. Carrot seedlings are just really, really fragile, and they just don't have the oomph to push up through really hard soil. So I just keep them really, really damp. You really don't want to cover these too deep. It takes a lot for them to pop up through the soil. The variety of carrots that I have grown for years and years is Danver half-long. The reason I like these is because they are shorter, and so they just pop out of the ground when you want to dig them. They also are such great storage carrots. We're still eating our carrots from last summer. They're still in our refrigerator downstairs, which is wild to me. I've tried others, and somehow the Danver half-longs are what I always come back to.
Another quick note, I feel like there's just been a number of little things I wanted to share in today's video, but we've been doing a ton of planting in our big gardens here, but also in our container garden. And if you remember, we got an elevated raised bed, a hose reel, and the tomato trellis planter from Vego Garden. They have given us an extra discount for More Than Farmers audience only right now, and it's only good until I think it's June the 4th. And that link and discount code will be in the description for you to go find that stuff.
Last planting of the day. I am doing this big hill of zucchini. This is the sunburst squash. It's not actually zucchini, okay? It's summer squash. We use it just like zucchini. I like to make a zucchini relish with this, and for some reason the bugs don't like it nearly as much as the black zucchini or the long green ones. So this is always what I do. Once again, I'm gonna plant quite a few of them, and then I will thin these out to 4 plants on this hill. We've been doing a ton of planting this spring, spread out over a couple different videos, so we put together a playlist right here so you can go watch those next. I literally have to hide my chocolate for you not to eat it. Okay, so...
I love my wife.
Did you say I love my wife or I love my life?
I said wife.